The other thing Ibrahim ﷺ does is that he has a lot of patience. A lot of patience. Now when you're giving da'wah, you need patience. And you don't need this much, you need a lot. Somebody said to me, when I went to Hajj the first time round, I think it was. Yeah, first time round. Somebody said to me this, and I will never forget this statement he said. He said, you going to Hajj? I said, yes. He said, take this much sabr, patience with you. Because take this much, he put both of his arms out like this. He said, by the time you come back, you're going to have that much left. By the time you're going to come back, you're going to have that much left. And he was right. You know, the amount of hustling, busting, all that you get over there, and the amount of things that go wrong over there, you know, in 6 million people, 5 million people, when you come back, you seriously need you to take that much patience, and you'll only come back with that much. And with that, I'm going to say, you know, with da'wah, you need a lot of patience. And you need to make sure that you have still, you know, the end of the day, there's a love. There's a love that must not be broken. And there's an understanding of a person you're trying to give da'wah to or call them towards the deen. They know you care for them. As long as they know you care for them, they will still have a heart to listen. And if on top of that you talk to them nicely, you talk to them with logic and reasoning, you talk to them sensibly, you talk to them with a nice tone of voice, then there's a way of them accepting you. And even if they don't accept you, you have placed inside them the seeds of doubt of what they're doing. So at least it will play in their mind. Don't tell me it's not going to play in their mind. It will play in their mind. And they will think somewhere, even if they're sitting on the toilet seat. Yeah? You know the toilet seat? You're thinking, Ya astaghfirullah, Shaykh, what are you saying? The toilet seat is a place when people think. It's a good place to think. You don't exactly. Sayyidina Ali radiallahu anhu once, somebody asked him a question. And he said, wait. And Sayyidina Ali went and he relieved himself. And when he relieved himself, he came back. And when he came back, he said, I have your answer right now. Because when you relieve yourself, you got nothing else to do. You can just think. And it's a very good time to think about things that you wouldn't otherwise do. But we've got a problem these days. People now take the smartphone inside the toilet. Seriously, people take the smartphone inside the toilet and now they're sitting there and they want to browse around on their thing, on the phone while they're inside the toilet. I'm telling you, toilet is a place where you can actually think. And it's a good place to not only relieve yourself, it's relieve your mind as well, because you can think about things just while you're there. When you've given da'wah to that person, even if they go to the toilet, they would have at least thought of it, or when they're driving, they would have thought of it. Somewhere or another, you put the seeds of doubt inside them. And sometimes what happens is the seeds of doubt collect. And after a long while, it makes a person think, you know what, I'm surrounded by so many arguments, I'm wrong, I can't do this. And it makes a person want to change. All right? So what does Ibrahim ﷺ do here? Ibrahim ﷺ, he goes into the temple, and as he goes inside, he sees them worshipping. And Ibrahim ﷺ, this is in Surah Al-Shu'ara, Surah number 26, ayah number 75 to 82. Ayah number 75 to 82. So what he does is, Ibrahim ﷺ, he says, أَفَرَأَيْتُمْ مَا كُنْتُمْ تَعْبُدُونَ. He says, are you actually like concentrating on what is it that you're actually worshipping here? Now look, أَفَرَأَيْتُمْ, do you see what you're worshipping? He's getting them to focus on, you know, like imagine you're worshipping, I know we don't do this, but imagine a person's worshipping an idol. A person's emotions are high. They believe that these statues are doing things for them. They believe that, you know what, the good that's happening in their life is because the last time they came to this temple, they made their SADAQAHs or praises to those gods, and things happen because of that. So Ibrahim ﷺ is saying, do you see what you're actually worshipping? And he gets them to see, in one place of the Quran, he tells them, he says, مَا هَذِهِ التَّمَاثِيلِ. He says, what are these statues and these paintings? Because they even made paintings, statues, and pieces of art that they had, which they would stand for very long periods of time in front of. Akifun, they used to stand in front of them. So what happened is, when Ibrahim ﷺ, he questioned them, he said to them, okay, what is it in front of you? And he asked them, he said, do they actually listen to you? Yasma'unakum. Do they listen to you? Now this is logic. With your logic, you're going to say, either you're going to stay quiet or you're going to say no. He says, do they actually see you? أَوْ يَنْفَعُونَكُمْ أَوْ يَضُرُّونَ. Do they actually benefit you or do they actually harm you? So tell me, do they directly do this? Have you actually physically, or in any way you believe that they directly do this to you? And then he goes on, he says to them, well, these are those who I'm on the opposite side of them. فَإِنَّهُمْ عَدُوٌّ لِي إِلَّا رَبَّ الْعَالَمِينَ. Because I don't see these gods that you believe in, feeding people, benefiting people, harming people, I don't see them as the cause. Because don't forget, he grew up in the household where his father was taking mud and he was making these idols from there. He said, I don't see that these benefit you in that way. He then said to them, what do I see? He said, الَّذِي خَلَقَنِي فَهُوَ يَهْدِينَ. The Lord of the worlds, He's the one who has created me and He is guiding me. وَالَّذِي هُوَ يُطْعِمُنِي وَيَسْقِينَ. He's the one who feeds me food, not these gods. And He's the one who gives me water. وَإِذَا مَرِضْتُ فَهُوَ يَشْفِينَ. When I'm ill, I turn to Rabbul Alameen. I turn to Allah and I get cured. So here's me in your city, I've grown up, I turn to Allah and I get cured when I turn to Him only and no other God. So why is it that you people, do you really get the benefit from these gods? وَالَّذِي يُمِيتُنِي ثُمَّ يُحْيِينَ. And the one who's going to cause me to die and He's going to bring me back alive again. Now here He's telling them about the afterlife. وَالَّذِي أَطْمَعُ أَن يَغْفِرَ لِي خَطِيئَتِي يَوْمَ الدِّينِ. And the one whom I have hoping that is going to forgive my mistakes on the day of judgment, on the day of recompense. Now, what he's doing here again, he's appealing to their logic. Look at this, do you believe in this? Do you believe benefit? Do you believe harm? And so on. So for example, you're trying to give da'wah to somebody. Why did Ibrahim salam talk about benefit and harm? Because benefit and harm are those two things that the whole world rotates around the human being. If you think about it, why do you do what you do? Why do you go for a job? Because the job's going to benefit you. Why do you, why do you close your doors at night? Because you're saving yourself from harm. Why do you make sure that you put oil in your car? Because if you don't, then you're going to be stuck somewhere without petrol and so on. So you want to save yourself from harm. And the benefit is that you go from place A to place B. Benefit and harm are those things that are crucial to every single human being in everything that they do in this entire world. Now he's trying to get their logic to think that, look, where is your benefit coming from? Where is your harm coming from? Think yourself. Now of course, these people are in the temple, they're not thinking at all. They're not making any response to him. So what he then does is, as he's making his questioning to them, he feels, and this is the rushd Allah gives him, the guidance Allah gives him, he feels what he needs to do is he needs to prove a point to them. And his point is going to be, if I actually break these idols back to the clay and the earth and the stone therewith, then I want to see what happens. Because I told them, do they listen? Do they hear? Do they benefit? Okay, so he devised a plan. When he devised a plan, first he went back to them, he said to them, this is in Surah Al-Anbiya, ayah number 51 to 56. He said to them, what are these things that you stand long periods of time for in front of? Why do you stand there? They said, وَجَدْنَا آبَاءَنَا لَهَا عَابِدِينَ. We found our forefathers doing this. He said, لَقَدْ كُنْتُمْ أَنْتُمْ وَآبَاءَكُمْ فِي ضَلَالٍ مُبِينٍ. He says, I must say that you and your fathers have been on a clear error. This is wrong. This is wrong. You've been on a clear error. So they turned around to him, they said, أَجِئْتَنَا بِالْحَقِّ أَمْ أَنْتَ مِنَ اللاعبين. They said, have you come here to be serious, or are you having a laugh? Are you playing around? Are you mocking inside this temple? Are you being serious? Are you joking? Are you having a laugh? Are you playing around? Are you messing around? So that's when he said to them, بَلْ رَبُّكُمْ رَبُّ السَّمَاوَاتِ وَالْأَرْضِ الَّذِي فَطَرَهُنَّ وَأَنَا عَلَى ذَلِكُمْ مِنَ الشَّاهِدِينَ. He said, your Lord really is the Lord of the heavens and the earth, and I am a witness to all of this. Now they thought, you know what? If they could, right, they'd really give this kid a proper beating, but they can't. Why? Because he's the son of the idol maker. And subhanAllah, how does Allah do this? Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, if you look later on, he's born in the best household of the entire clan of Makkah. He's born in Quraysh, he's born in Hashimi, he's born as the grandson of Abdul Muttalib. It's like, wow, you couldn't get a better family and a better place to be born at. And Ibrahim alayhi salam is given that so that he's given natural protection. So they can't do anything to him, but they let it go. So what he does? He says, okay, I've got something I'm going to do. Now, they've got a big festival coming, and this festival is they're all going to go out and they're all going to go and have, a lot of, you could call it like a carnival, big carnival and so on. They have once a year they have this. And they asked Ibrahim alayhi salam to come that year to this festival. And he just looked up at the stars and he said, I'm not really feeling that well. I'm not really feeling that well. Now, this part he said, I'm not really feeling well. I'm going to cover this later on. What he really meant is, he wasn't really ill as in physically ill, but he was mentally ill. His mental illness was that his people are worshipping these idols and he just can't take it anymore that they're doing this. So he's feeling down inside, and that's the illness he was referring to. About this particular thing, I'm going to talk to you later on. But let's get to the actual story itself. What happens is that he turns around from them and he goes back home. All of them go towards the festival or the carnival. They go. And Ibrahim ﷺ is alone. So what he then does is that he makes his way towards the temple. All alone, young boy with an axe in his hand. He goes to the temple and he also takes some food and he takes some water. He goes right in front of the idols and he says to idol number one, he says, hey, here, eat. Eat. Go on, eat man, eat. Khalo. Khailabe. Like if you're talking in your own language, eat. Hey, some drink. Go on, take. Hey, take it now. Eat, drink. No? No, eat, no drink? Okay. So he puts it all down. He takes the axe. He says, eat? Yeah? Drink? Yeah? He's giving some trouble. So when he doesn't eat, when he doesn't drink, he takes his axe and whack! One big one, and that's smashed. Okay, he moves to the second one. He says, hey, eat, drink, no, eat, no, okay, no problem. Huh? And he smashes that one, he smashes the next one, and he uses his same thing to each of the idols. He smashes that one, smashes, until he comes to the big one. Now the big one was very big, it wasn't smashable, but he devised another plan. He didn't want to smash all of them, because if he smashed all of them, then they've got no way of finding out who did this. So what he did is he climbed the big one, he took the axe and put it around the neck, right, tied it there, put it around the neck. He came all the way back, climbed all the way back down, and he went home. Now the place is full of smashed idols. All over there's broken idols. Now you could imagine those people when they came back to their temple, what they're going to think. They came in and they were absolutely horrified. They were stunned. They looked at it. They thought, who on earth did this? Now, this is like you come into the masjid and you're finding that the whole place has been vandalized. Imagine the whole place. Sometimes it happens in certain masjid. Allah protect our masjid. Or sometimes these guys, sometimes they come out, they put a pig's head on. They've done this in the past. They put a pig's head on the mimbar, they're broken inside, or they put a pig's head outside and so on. And it's desecrating the place of worship. Now, Ibrahim ﷺ has broken the idols, he's left, and they start questioning, said, who did this? Who did this? Who is he? Who? Come on. And they said, well, we've heard this little young man, his name is, they said Fata. Now, Fata is a person who's just below probably the age of 12. Because Shab is the next age. It comes from 12 to about 25. So he was quite young. And they said, that one that, whose name we hear, Ibrahim, maybe he's done this. So they said, Itu bihi ala ayn, bring him here right now in front of everybody and we're going to question him. So you can imagine the rage that these people got. And they summoned him, he came inside. And they said to him, Ibrahim, أَأَنْتَ فَعَلْتَ هَذَا بِآلِهَتِنَا? You did this with our gods? Ibrahim, did you do this with our gods? Now he said, hey, listen, you know where the axe is, you know, the big one there, yeah? That big one, maybe you should ask that big one. Maybe he know what's going on, you know, yeah? Now, what they say is there's two ways he possibly did this. He either pointed to the idol with his big finger, right? Meaning the big one, asked the big one, or what he did is he put his back towards the idol, right? And he said like this, pointing towards his own shoulder. He said, you know the big one meaning himself, ask him. And they obviously thought he's pointing towards the idol, whichever way it was. Again, this is a second statement. I'm going to come to you later on to tell you something about this, but this is not the time. So when he said that this is the big one, and he said, go and ask them. Ask him. Look, just go and ask him. You know, he's your God. He must have known what happened to all these little gods. You know, they got beaten up bad. You know, whatever happened here. So go and ask them. So now they nukisu ala ru'usihim. They put their heads down. And their heads came down. Now, subhanallah al-azim. You know, the Quran is a beautiful book. It teaches us the whole science of body language. Quran teaches the whole science of body language. Because imagine that they were first with their heads up, and when they realized that this boy has got an argument they can't mess with, they can't approach, what they did is they just put their heads down like that. Now see that body language? What does that show you? Anyone tell me? What does that show you? They can't answer, and it shows what? Anyone else? They've got some doubt, and what does it show? They've got, you know, they feel that they've got no answer, and they feel weak. And because of that weakness, the body goes down, the head goes down. This is body language, Allahu Akbar. If you look in the Quran, in many places you will find this. So Allah says to those women, He says in Surah An-Nur, He says, don't walk on the earth in a way that people who look at you, men especially that look at you, they want to think, what is it that you haven't revealed to them? You know, some women on the earth, they work tick tock, tick tock, tick tock, tick tock. You hear that? Sometimes? You guys are living in the masjid all your life. You go outside here, you hear that tick tock, tick tock, tick tock, and you're outside. The thing is that why is that woman doing that? Allah says in the Holy Quran, لِيُعْلَمَ مَا يُخْفِينَ مِنْ زِينَتِهِنَّ, because she wants others to think, man, what is that woman hiding from me? What has she got behind her clothes and so on? So this is body language. Allah talks about it. When a woman walks like that, there is a reason why she's done, because she wants attention. She wants attention. But anyway, body language is in the Quran, and this teaches us this. So when they put their heads down, they said, لَقَدْ عَلِمْتَ, you know, مَا هَؤُلَاءِ يَنْطِقُونَ, they don't speak. Now he's put his whole argument down to, okay, if they don't speak, then how, and they can't save themselves. You guys, you know, I asked you a question, which was, do they benefit you or do they harm you? Yeah? I've come inside here today and whoa, I've just seen all these broken idols. Now if I really broke them, if I did, or whoever did, right? These gods should have been able to protect themselves from that. If the gods can't protect themselves from harm to themselves, how are they going to protect you from harm? This was smasher, big argument. You can see what his logic is telling them. How can you come here? They don't listen to you. Okay, you think they don't even speak, but you come here and make your prayers to them. They can't speak to you. They can't hear. They can't see. They can't benefit. They can't harm. And yet you guys, you put all your faith in these stones and these rocks and these idols. That's when their questioning turned to anger. Now there's another lesson here to learn. Their question they asked, straight away Allah says, when Ibrahim said, he said, Uff uffil lakum. He said, oh, uffil lakum. Oof to you and to your idols. Oh, how can you worship something that... He said, afala ta'qilun. He said, do you not use your logic, your reasoning, your intellect? Do you not use it to think what you've just done all these years, worshipping these things that can't even defend themselves? And that's when they, instead of them questioning any further, they said, harriquhu, harriquhu. Mansuru alihatakum. They said, take avenge for our gods. Take avenge for our gods. Burning. Right? It's almost like, grab him, he's burning. Now, there's a very interesting thing to learn from here. Is that when you sometimes take a person to logical reasoning and they're not listening to you, if you make a move as drastic as this in any way, I'm not saying, again, look guys, I'm not saying to you guys in any way or any form to go out there and start breaking idols, right? I'm not saying that. Please, don't get the wrong message, right? And you go and you say, I heard, last night, this thing, and I went there and I did this. Do they listen to you? Nah, please guys, yeah. The world has changed quite a lot. And this is a story of Ibrahim, how he did it. But what you need to understand is the lessons that we can learn from it. So, what happens is that there's a point when you push a people with their reason, their logic, and they're not going to listen to you. And you do something to seriously prove them wrong. Because what Ibrahim did is not about him breaking the idols, it's more about that he's completely smashed their arguments. They have not got another day they can raise their head and say to Ibrahim, you stand aside, okay, fine, you carry on talking about your Lord, yeah, but we're going to carry on worshiping. They ain't got nothing. They haven't even got the idols. They have to start all over again. They have to make them all how they were, right? One had, this feature, one had they have to now mentally go and tell the idol maker, who's his father, go and make us these idols again. Right? Because this one was for rain and that one was this, that was for that. We need the whole temple back to normal again. But what happens is, when you have pushed people with their logic and they're not taking it, and they can't take any more arguments from you, they usually switch to emotions. And this, time and again, you will find. With Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, same thing happened. When they couldn't make an argument with him, they turned it into emotion. They turned it into anger and emotions. You will find most uneducated people, they will do this with you. Educated people will still talk to you. You beaten them in an argument, they will stay quiet. Educated people will stay quiet. Educated people will, civilized people will sort of accept it, even if they don't say sorry, even if they don't accept, they're in the wrong, they will walk away, but they will walk away clean. Uneducated, uncivilized people, when you push them to the limit with their logic, the only thing they can do is just to fight back. They just go crazy on you. So that's what happened here. And they said, let's burn him. But they didn't say, let's just burn him. They said, we're going to kill him like no other way of killing him. We're going to build the biggest fire ever. And we're going to put him into that fire. And he's not going to see, forget. And you know what? We're going to kill him in a way that all of us are going to watch him die. And we're going to kill him in a way that nobody's going to be able to doubt he's dead. That's how badly we want this boy dead. Right? So what they did is they said, everybody bring some charity. And the charity was, to help your lords, you bring charity, that you bring firewood. Everyone's going to donate and bring from their houses firewood. And they came and they donated a pile. And they came and donated a pile, and another pile, until that pile got so big, it was huge. It was like a hill. It was like a huge hill. And when they had all bought the best firewood, and it was all dry firewood, so if you lit this, that's it. It's going to be burning within seconds. It wasn't wood that would take time to burn. So when they put that all together, now there's a big problem, which is, now the whole city is here, the whole of Babylon is here. Everyone wants to see this boy die and be burnt to shreds. So they have this anger inside and say, okay, come on, they have a problem. The problem is, who in the world is going to grab that boy and walk with him on the pile of all of these woods that they've collected and take him to the top and tie him to a pole or put him there in the middle, because if you walk with this boy in the middle, what's going to happen? What's going to happen? Come on, guys. No. If you just go and try and put him and you're walking up this hill of wood, what's going to happen? You will collapse. So that's the big problem. So they thought, okay, what do we do now? So they said, okay, let's make a human catapult. So they made a human catapult, a big one. Serious, guys. Yeah? This is in the explanation of the tafsirs. They made a human catapult and they put the boy, Ibrahim alayhi salam, in the catapult, and they basically took it back and thought, okay, we're going to catapult him right towards the middle. He's going to land somewhere in the middle. And then we're just going to light it. So they pulled him back and they shot him. Ibrahim alayhi salam fell right into the middle somewhere in the middle of this hill of wood, right? And as soon as he landed, what they did is they lit the matches, whatever it was, and they lit the fire, and he started to burn, and it's burning from all around. It's not burning from one place, they lit it from all around, and the fire's coming straight towards the middle. And as Ibrahim alayhi salam is in the middle of this, and the fire is coming, the beautiful thing about this is that he's not even worried. And they say that Jibreel alayhi salam, he came to him. This is in some of the riwayat. And then they're not all Sahih riwayat. This particular one is an Israeli riwayat. But as I said to you before, that Israeli riwayat, we can take them. We don't fully accept them. We don't affirm them. We don't reject them. But you can narrate them. So what happens is that Ibrahim alayhi salam has Jibreel alayhi salam coming to him. And he says to him, Ibrahim, are you not going to call the Lord? And Ibrahim alayhi salam says, with full contentment, is he not watching me? Is he not watching me? Of course he's watching me. So the content that this person had, alayhi salatu wasalam, is a big lesson. You know, some people, you tell them in life, you say to them, tawakkal ala Allah, you know, like just depend on Allah. And they don't get the meaning of tawakkul Allah. They don't get the meaning of it. They don't really, they believe in it, don't get me wrong. They believe in it, but they just don't fully get it. What is tawakkul Allah? And this is the supreme way of seeing tawakkul Allah. The most supreme way. What is this? Is that you put all your means in place. Imagine that you put every mean you can. Let's say for example, somebody's trying to get a child to pass some exam or something, and you had him tutored, and you made him sit and revise, and you made him stay awake, and you made him revise again, and you made him go to school, and all the other things that you did, right, to try and get this child to learn what he's supposed to learn. And then you're worried inside. Is my son going to pass? Is my son going to pass? Is my son going to pass? You're worried inside. Some of these parents, I meet them and I say to them, look, just have, now you do tawakkul Allah. What is that? You just have full contentment. Whatever happens is going to happen for the best. And Allah is going to make the best happen. Doesn't matter whether he ends up in that school or this school or that school, wherever Allah takes him, you did your best in your means. You need to know tawakkul means that not only trust in Allah, tawakkul literally means trust in Allah, but it's not only trust in Allah, it's trust by making your heart believe the best is going to happen. And this is what Ibrahim ﷺ is displaying here. And what happens, Allah Azza wa Jalla, as we know in the Holy Quran, He says, He turns to the fire and He says to the fire, O fire, Kuni bardan wa salaman ala Ibrahim. O fire, I want you to become cool, and not only cool, because if Allah just said become cool for Ibrahim, what would have happened is that Ibrahim ﷺ would have had the fire around him and he would have been cold. He would have been cold. Now when you have temperatures dropping down to a certain degree that you don't want it, it's going to hurt you. So Allah said, Bardan wa salama. I want you to become cool and safe for him as well, which is that such a coolness that he enjoys. Now when the fire came and he was all around him, he was enjoying the warmth. The fire's all over him, all around him. And he's enjoying every moment of it. Because the temperature is just perfect. You know when you sometimes you get a perfect day, you go out in your garden and the sun's heat is like, you don't want it to be 1 degree above or 1 degree less. It's like, ooh, you know that heat? Allah has even promised, Allah has taken an oath on that. What duha? You know what duha is? It's that morning heat that is so soothing and so nice that you don't want it to go 1 degree above or 1 degree below. You just want it to stay there. You want your body to stay there. And that's how Ibrahim a.s. was in that fire. And they say that Ibrahim a.s. was there for many, many, many days. It burned for days. So where's he getting his food from? Allahu Akbar. The fire was so in. Now here it's cool around him, but the fire is hot down there. People can't come near the fire. The fire is hot. The heat of it is so strong that when a bird flies above it, it gets roasted. That's how hot it is. And that roasted bird falls right in front of Ibrahim a.s. in his nice cool fire. And he eats the roasted bird. Allahu Akbar. Right? And whenever he needs to eat, a bird falls in front of him and he eats it. Now the fire is intense there, is cool here. Allahu Akbar. Look at the miracle that Allah Azza wa Jal created. Anyway, this is the last part to this first session of Ibrahim a.s.